Basically, as we all know, sorry, I have cold. The name of the project is called the MEADOW'S. The MEADOW'S is a project which was conceptualized. That was something last year, end of last year, this year. That's when we came with that idea. Okay, what can we do different? What other guys are doing around the IBEJU axis? What can we do differently that will stir the market, that will not be the first to own a place around there, but to be the best around IBEJU. You know, IBEJU is one of the fast growing cities around the axis. We all know why, the reason why we have that. We have a lot of things ongoing. We have the deep sea port, we have the Dangote fertilizer, we have the Dangote refinery, we have the airport, we have Kellos, we have power oil, we have a lot ongoing on that axis. If we'll be going there to see, you can see down from Ekpe, moving down to the LEKKI junction, they're having 5 lanes and 5 lanes. They've already started. So there's a mandate given to the contractor to finish that project on or before the end of this year or 4th quarter next year. Why should I invest in IBEJU? I'll say we started. This is how we started with the documentation, meeting with the owners of the land. Well, we went through that process, and I'll tell you how we achieved this land. This land was given to the Aja community. We all know Royal Gardens. We all know Royal Gardens, right? Royal Gardens, Aja community owns that very land. But initially, specifically, was to be used for a hospital, a general hospital, a massive general hospital. But during Tinubu's time, it was acquired from them, and they built Royal Gardens. So they are going to settle them with another land. So this was the land they used in settling the Aja community. That's why basically what we have, the title document we have on this land is an unexpiring leasehold. So we went to the court, so they gave us a registered consent judgment, which states that the court and the owners, both parties, have agreed that this land belongs to Pauti Morgan Holdings, which is as good as a good title. Now, what we are going to get is we're going to get a C of O that will be given to every individual that purchase into this property. Now, why should I want to invest in the IBEJU artists? I've said it. From last year to this year, we started selling at the rate of 10 million naira for an outright purchase and 12.5. There's a reason. We just launched into the market. We've not signed, we've not done most of our due diligence. 10 million and 12.5. Now we are selling at this rate for 21,340,000 and 21.8 million, then 28.340 for an installment payment plan. Why is the change of price so sudden? No, it wasn't sudden. You know, at the time we started this, you know, definitely still the fundamentals, still the conceptualization of the project. Now we have signed Chavez and we have signed Zodiac. If you all see this behind us, this is the master plan of what we tend to achieve. It's a city on its own. It's about 79 hectares of land. That's about 1,185 plots of land in this. So we are trying to achieve what has not been achieved around that axis. As I've said earlier on, we don't want to be the first. We want to have the best. So if you, even though your prospect or your buyer want to get into this, first of all, look, what is my returns? What's the return for the past 1 year? From December to now, it's about 70% return on investment. Imagine people that bought for 12.5, and they are hearing that it's going for 28,340,000. And in the next 1 month, because sun filling will start, you might go to site and see sun filling has already started. It comes with a different price because cost is coming. So definitely it goes into the land. And we don't want to achieve a place whereby you take your prospect there or you go there, you cannot sell it. No, it's a prime location. It's just by the road. Malak filling station, directly opposite Malak filling station, There's a road. You see our land. We're sharing the same boundary with the Chinese dredging company. That's what we are buying our sand for. They linked down to the water, but they made that place their base where they put the sand. So it's easier for us to just move our sand and sanitize the land. So basically, the Meadows is a home away from the home. Everybody, every investor who wants to buy into the Meadows, the location is prime. What the government has, if you are very familiar or very conversant with the news, that's where they have been hammering. That's the new Lagos. The change in that location is dramatic, it's sudden. We don't have expanse of land again like that in Lagos. So everybody's tilting towards that axis. And Dangote, as I was talking to some people, I said that's why this country will not break. On the lighter side. Go and see what Dangote is doing on that axis. You know exactly what that place will look like in the next 2-3 years. And we all know that the deep sea port has started functioning already. The first ship has sailed in. So you can imagine the kind of people that will be going there. The immigration will be there. There will be a yen for accommodation. Not just accommodation, prime locations. Why do people come into Lagos and want to live in Ikoyi, want to live in Banana Island? Because of what? The community of its own. That's the same community we're trying to recreate. So when you take your client or your prospect there, or you are going to buy yourself, you know you have a mentality of what in the next 5 years, in the next 6 years, in the next 7 years, it's secure and it will give you a good return on your investment. And nobody will go to that site and say, yes, there's not a high prospect over there. As I've said, the location is prime. What on that axis, the benefits you stand to get in the next 1-2 years is unfathomable. You cannot just, it's there. So as we're living here, as you have seen the layout, it's as I've said before, it's 79 hectares of land. 79 hectares, if you have to put them in plots, it's 1,185 plots. We have 3 types of plots. We have the residence, we have the commercial, and we have the institutional. The residence is basically, as its name applies, where you can live and build. While the commercial is where you can have your shops, your malls. While the institutional is where you can have your schools, your hospitals, your bank. And we have various sizes when it comes to those plots. The minimum of plots you can buy in the Meadows is 500 square meters. That's for the residents. Minimum, you can buy as much as, if you want to live in a big community, you can buy 2,000, 3,000 and build a small house and have a lot of greenways. But on the commercial, the minimum you can buy is 1,000 square meters. 1,000 square meters, because you can't build a shopping mall on a 500 square meters, no. Then on institutional, the minimum you can buy is 1,005 square meters. And they have various prices. Excuse me. For the residents, an outright is going for 21.8, as earlier said. Then an installment is going for 28.340. Aside other charges. The reason why we're not incorporating other charges into the cost. 1, infrastructures, it's not, when you want to do your infrastructure, material, cost of material is not static. It changes. So if I'm saying you're buying a land for 30 million, when all those costs have been incorporated in, tomorrow there's a change in price. I can't come and tell you for that, you get 30 million, you need to pay 5 million addition to it. No. That's why we have to separate it. We have to separate it. So the cost of the land is different from the cost of the infrastructural fee. It's different from the cost of the legal fee. It has to be separated based on my explanation made earlier on. So the price and for now, the cost for infrastructural fee is 7.5 million on residences. Then on institutional and commercial is 30 million naira. then normal are 5% legal fee. So the total cost is what comes down to the cost of a land. Excuse me. So basically, that is all we have to know on the MEADOW'S. The MEADOW'S is something that when we talked about doing this project, we sat down with ourselves, okay, how can we achieve? So we told ourselves, this project will take our time. When I mean take our time, we'll bring the best of brains. Tomorrow, when your prospect buys into it, and they want to sell in the next 1 year, they can confidently sell it and say yes, not because we are just going to put a fence and you know normally what people do on our axis. They buy a massive land and build a nice fence and they go into the market. That land is like that for the next 4 or 5 years. Nothing is being done. We don't want, if you've known what we've done quite a number of projects. I was part of the team that built Arepo, the Greenland's garden, Greenland's homes in Arepo. When we started, the first thing we did was the infrastructure. We hired PWU from the express. We did it down to our estate. Go and check the road, it's still the same today. So if you want to sell your plot of land in that estate, a 600 square meter is going for 60 million on that axis, and people are still buying it. Why? Because it's not the same way you will buy a land, build a fence, and keep it the next 5 years, and be using that fence and you get out to sell it. No, we are not part of people that does things. That's why we don't mind bringing top quality architectural designs, good contractors. We bring them, we see them. How can we achieve this?